Okay, let's just dive right into this explainer and explore the foundational elements of absolute persistence. The source material reveals this incredibly surprising insight right out of the gate. Nearly 80% of human behavioral change fails. And it's not because of a lack of desire, but because of a completely flawed structural approach. Think about that. So, we're going to unpack a framework today that has the power to completely transform your trajectory. We're talking about shifting away from relying on those fleeting emotions and instead building the deep structural changes required to actually hit those long-term goals. We are looking at the literal architecture of human drive.
Now, I want you to really think about something for a second. There comes a profound moment in everyone's life when they arrive at an ultimate crossroads. We literally all face it eventually. It's that quiet, contemplative moment where you realize the path you're on is either leading you toward your absolute highest potential or keeping you completely stagnant. So, what actually happens in your mind and in your life the very day you decide that your old way of operating is simply no longer acceptable?
That brings us right into section 1, the ultimate choice. Because look, the source material points out a stark contrast in how we respond to that crossroads. We really only have two choices here. We can stay on the default setting for human psychology, which basically means continuing to live the exact same life, making the exact same excuses, and ultimately accepting the exact same results. It's living your life on autopilot. Or we can make the conscious decision that today is the day everything changes. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Taking absolute control of your future starts by actively choosing that second path.
Moving right along to section 2, the myth of success.
We always kind of assume high achievers possess some unattainable innate trait, right? But the data shows something completely different. Success doesn't actually belong to the smartest person in the room. It doesn't belong to the richest. And it certainly doesn't belong to the luckiest. When you strip away the rare anomalies, the research confirms that success belongs almost exclusively to the person who simply refuses to quit. It is an endurance game, plain and simple.
It is just so incredibly easy to look at someone at the finish line and completely forget they had to run the entire race. The source material highlights this beautifully by pointing out that the most prolific inventors, athletes, and entrepreneurs often share a massive initial failure rate. Every single champion out there was once a total beginner who didn't know what they were doing. Every millionaire once stared at an empty bank account. The only difference, literally the absolute only difference, is that they kept going when everyone else threw in the towel.
Which leads us into section 3, discipline over motivation.
Here's the thing about motivation. It's honestly a terrible master. It relies entirely on perfect conditions and perfect feelings. And let's be real, it comes and it goes. Winners, they don't wait around for motivation to strike. They anchor themselves in discipline, forcing perfect habits for when the excitement inevitably wears off. When you're absolutely exhausted, discipline is the unwavering power that keeps you moving forward, regardless of the emotional weather. Because life is absolutely gonna test you. There will be days when you feel incredibly tired, days when nobody believes in you, and days when you deeply question yourself. So when you don't feel like working, work anyway. When you don't feel like studying, study anyway. When you don't feel like exercising, you guessed it, exercise anyway. This rhythmic repetition of just doing it anyway is the exact blueprint of discipline. You execute regardless of how you happen to feel in that moment. And as you build this discipline, you have got to put on blinders. Stop comparing yourself to everyone else. Someone else's journey is not your journey. The only metric that actually matters is this. Are you better today than the person you were yesterday? That's it. Small, incremental improvements every single day are what truly create extraordinary results over time. You're only ever competing against your past self.
Let's pivot a bit to section 4, redefining your failures. I absolutely love how the source material offers this powerful reframe. Failure is not the opposite of success. Actually, scratch that. It is an essential, totally non-negotiable part of it. We are so culturally conditioned to fear failure and avoid it at all costs, but every mistake you make is actively teaching you a vital lesson that you honestly couldn't have learned any other way. You must not fear these moments. Every setback is actively building your strength, and every challenge prepares you for something much greater down the line. And perhaps the most difficult truth we have to swallow is this. The world is probably going to laugh at your big dreams before it applauds them. You just have to believe in yourself even when absolutely nobody else does, knowing that the mockery is just a stepping stone to the applause. So when you inevitably face that external resistance, how do you respond? You respond exactly like this.
People doubt you? Let them. People criticize you? Let them. People underestimate you? Let them. Deliver your effort with such intense focus that you don't even need to argue with your critics. Your future success is ultimately going to speak way louder than your words ever could today.
All right, bringing us home with Section 5, the power of today.
When the journey gets brutally hard, you need an anchor. You have to remember your deep internal why. Remember why you started in the very first place. Think about those specific dreams that literally keep you awake at night. Think about the people who actually do believe in you. And most importantly, hold on to the vision of the person you desperately want to become. That vision, that's the fuel for your immediate next steps.
Think about the compounding effect of this persistence. I want you to imagine yourself just 1 year from right now. If you wake up with purpose today, if you stay disciplined, if you keep learning and just flat out refuse to give up, you will wake up 1 year from now stronger, healthier, smarter, more confident, and drastically closer to your dreams. But that entire future reality, it starts entirely with today's seemingly small actions.
And there is immense urgency here, guys. You cannot delay this process. Do not wait for Monday to roll around. Don't wait for the 1st of next month. Forget about waiting for New Year's resolutions. Your best chapter has not yet been written, but you can't write it if you never actually pick up the pen. You have to start now. The mechanics of changing your life are remarkably simple, though obviously never easy. You take one step, and then you take another, and another. You just guide yourself through the simplicity of action. The framework emphasizes that one day you are gonna look back and you'll realize that those tiny, immediate daily steps completely change the entire landscape of your life.
As the text reminds us, the world belongs to those who refuse to give up. Your story is not over yet. It is time to stand up. Fight for your dreams. Work in silence. Stay humble, stay deeply focused, and never, ever stop believing that you are capable of achieving absolute greatness.
This is your moment. This is your time. Go make your life extraordinary.
And I want to leave you with this final vital thought. All this information we've just unpacked, it means literally nothing without execution. So ask yourself, what exact specific step will you take the very moment this explainer ends? Don't just think about it, do it. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you on the next one.